Hey everyone. So I am doing this quick 10 question call on some questions that I'm getting from coaches and just different things that maybe your challengers are asked you. But these are usually the top 10 questions that I get and just pulling off of, out of the coach group. So the number one thing is how do you grow your business through social media? So it's kind of a wide topic, right? So what I would answer to that is I think with social media, then one thing that you have to be as a coach is just consistent. And I'm sure you've heard that before. But consistency is really the bread and butter of what this business is all about. Consistency is just showing up every single day or every other day and on your Facebook wall or your Instagram account and showing people that you're there. You are doing your workouts. You are doing the business. Whether you are super, super crazy busy, like mine, August was insane because I have two kids and I had a baby and I wasn't always like working all day. And, it was hard for me to be as consistent as I wanted. But I knew that if I just was able to show up, maybe with one post, that, maybe somebody would see that later on in their day. And so I was just always trying to just be consistent with sharing my journey. You're going to have ups and downs, but if you can show up, and that's really important to your coaches and your customers because they see that. So being consistent is obviously number one for that question. Number two is how did you know what your why was? Your why is super, super personal, I think. Your why is something that I find most often is a financial why for people. So it's okay to have a financial why. I know a lot of people say that, their why is they want to help people and, but I feel like that's what we do as coaches. I feel like your why is something that is going to help you in some way better your life so that you can have more time, more freedom, pay off debt, be less stressed. And a lot of that does have to do with finances. So knowing a goal number for your why is really important. I usually tell people if you could make $250 a week, that would be a great why so that you could do X, Y, and Z. And the way that you would do that is you would find at least 3 leaders on your team. So 3 leaders on your strong leg and 1 leader on your weak leg. And that would help you hit that goal of hitting $250 a week residually and helping you accomplish that why. So that would answer that question. Number 3 is how do you get over the fear of stepping outside your comfort zone? So I think one of the biggest things that holds a lot of people back in their business is fear of objection, fear of doing something different, fear of what other people think about them, fear of maybe hearing no. And so I think the biggest part of stepping outside your comfort zone is really working first on yourself. First on yourself in your fitness journey, first on yourself in your personal development, first on yourself of just realizing what you really want. It always goes back to that why. So is your why strong enough so that you aren't so fearful of what other people say about you? Is it worth you shying down to post a picture or, help inspire somebody? Is your why not worth that? Is your why to stay home with your kids not as important as somebody telling you that they think that your business is silly or they think that your post is too out there or whatever it is that you're fearful of? Is your fear of that one small thing that's holding you back more fearful than you actually hitting that why that you want to accomplish? So I always, whenever you have an obstacle, I always go back to that, your why, because usually if your fear is you're fearful of posting, it's usually just you need to work on yourself. You need to read more personal development and you need to go back to that why. And once you realize that it's not that big of a deal that somebody makes fun of my posts because I'd rather, stay home with my kids, or I'd rather pay off my student loans, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. So hopefully that helps with that one. Number 4 is, how did you train your coaches? So I think training your coaches is just by leading by example, to be honest. When I first started coaching, I had no scripts. We had no team pages. We had no Facebook groups. We had nothing. We had Google. So we would Google, how do you start a challenge group? How do you run, sneak peeks? How do you do this? How do you do that? And so I think training your team is so awesome on our team right now, because we have all the tools and we have all of the resources. We have sneak peeks, we have challenge groups, we have Facebook groups. We didn't have that back then. But I think if you're going to start to train your coach, then you need to lead by example, and you need to be in the groups. You need to be helping them in the challenge groups. You need to help them in the coach basics. You can't just sort of throw people in a coach basics ran by somebody else and expect that they're going to follow along. They join because you're their coach, and so they want you to help them. So training your coach is just really leading by example, doing the things that you say, you're doing that to-do list because you've asked them to do the to-do list, So that's really important. What number am I on? Number 5 is, when should I break off and do my own coach group? So this is kind of a cool question, because I really think that if you're ready to be a leader at any time, someone could just become a leader. You don't have to wait around at a certain point to make your own message thread for your coaches. I think the second that you sponsor a coach, you are a leader. Second that you have one challenger, you are a leader. So I usually tell my coaches to maybe have a message thread, have a coach group that if it's just 1 or 2 of you, then maybe they'll add a coach, and it kind of is a ripple effect. But I do feel like if you can have some sort of small group for your team, you're just going to relate so much more, and you're going to build stronger relationships, because you might have them in my coach group, but they didn't sign with me and they don't know who I am. So if you have that smaller group, they're just so much more likely to be able to feel more comfortable to ask you a question. They'll get to know your team better, and you're building up that team as you go. So I'd say that I did my first free group and broke away maybe in the first couple of months of doing a group one with my brother and my sister and everybody. And then I sort of did my own. And then I think the biggest thing for me and the best thing that ever happened was I started my own coach group. And I still was in my coaches, and I'm still in the big Team Boom one, but I did a smaller one, and it really helped me to build my team up. And then when they were ready, they did their own. So that was important. Number 6, what do you feel is the most important things to do each day as a coach to move your business forward? Honestly, it goes back down to the 4 vitals. I know it sounds super stupid, but honestly, being a product to the product, inviting people to join you. And I feel like inviting is a lot having to do with being consistent. So when I post a picture and I'm working out or whatever, and people like it, I'm inviting those people. Hey, thanks for liking my post. Are you interested in joining or learning more about my challenge group? So being a product to product, inviting people aren't going to join you if you're not doing that. Personal development is so important. I really think it should be number 1. And then recognizing your team. So if you can do those 4 vitals every single day, you're golden. You are going to move your business forward. You are going to see progress and see those things happen. So the 4 vitals are there for a reason, and they are the best thing to move your business forward, hands down. Okay. So the last one is time management. How do I manage my time when I'm working full-time or I have kids? So I actually got time management questions twice, because some people don't have kids and then some people did. So it's just kind of all over the place. But I read the book Eat That Frog, which really helped me with time management, because I'm a busy mom of 3 kids. When I first started my business, I had 2 toddlers and was working full time. And so I was exhausted. And I you always use time as an excuse. I don't have time because I have kids. I don't have time because I work full time. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time. I feel like saying you don't have time is just saying it's not a priority in your life. You eat breakfast every day and you have dinner every night and you go to the bathroom every day, you take a shower because it's a priority in your life. You put your kids to bed, you do those things because it's a priority in your life. So I just had to juggle some things around to just make this business a priority in my life, because I always, again, went back to that why, that I'm making this a priority in my life because I want more time in my life. I want more freedom. I want to pay off my student loans. Like, that was my why. So I was able to fit in the business more accommodating because I wanted to hit that why. So I'll just give you my own example. Is like, I never was a morning person, but I followed somebody that was like, got up in the morning and did their workout. And I was like, if I can do my workout and maybe do like a half hour of this business before I even like the kids wake up or I'm going off to work, then that would just move my business so much faster, because I don't have to get home late at night and be tired not to do a workout, right? So I sacrificed sleep. I would get up at 5:30 in the morning or 6, and I would do my workout, and then I would maybe post on social media or do some invites or listen to personal development, like one of the 4 vitals. And then I would get my kids ready. I get them to daycare. I would go to work. I would sit in a car maybe for lunchtime. I was kind of like all over the place traveling. So I would do my invites. I would do some follow-ups. I would post something that I was eating or whatever my day was. And then I would do, when I got home, I didn't want to sacrifice like every night because I had kids and family. And so usually around like my kids were in bed at like 7:30 or 8. So like Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday night, I would work my business, usually between like 9 and 10 o'clock at night or 9 and 11, because my husband and I had already talked. We ate dinner. He likes to watch his show. I was watching my show. So I was like, you know what, instead of watching TV, I am going to use this time to work my business. So that's one of the biggest sacrifices, was just getting up a little bit earlier and then not watching so much TV at night. And so it did suck not having to watch the Kardashian or just lay on the couch and veg out. But if I look back at the 3 years, I remember just always thinking like, I want to have more freedom in my life. So if I just do these short-term sacrifices, I'm going to have that long-term freedom in my life. So like a short 2 years of like sacrificing on Monday and Tuesday night for every single, weeknight for the rest of my life, like 50 years from now, is kind of like the mindset that I had. So there wasn't always days that I wanted to do it, but once I got going, it was actually kind of fun, because I love to talk to people. And once I sat down and like had my quiet time, it was kind of like, I just got into a groove of doing things. So time management has to do a lot with what's going on in your life. And reading Eat That Frog was really helpful. And always, again, going back to that why helped me to fit in this business during, the times when I didn't really want to. But ultimately, it does come down to time. It does come down to you doing the work it required to move your business forward. I mean, you're not going to get far unless you put in the time that you need, so it depends on what your why is. It really does. But I'm not going to lie that I did, get up early, and I did stay up a little late to work my business. So those were hopefully answered some questions for you guys. I'm open to sharing anything else that you have in mind. I am excited to go to the new leadership that's coming up in October, and so I can learn more and more and just continue to bring back more to help you guys build your business. So if you have any other questions or anything pops up, just let me know, and I'm always happy to make you guys a video or jump on a call with you. So bye, guys.